with a new man. Feel like she newborn. We inside a session. Party kicking up bad. She put up, she 2-1. Winding back on the man. You think I gave a damn? You're mad. The day you leave me, the day you leave, I started to see my way. When you hurt me and went away, what I thought was a tragedy was a blessing. The day you up and leave was a blessing. A blessing. I'm feeling so blessed. Oh yes, when you leave was a blessing. A blessing. My hands up high, I'm winding low. I'm glad you go, like I never happy before. My hands up high, I'm winding low. I'm glad you go, and I don't want to no more. Walk out the gate, all of the good you create. Like I start to elevate. Walk out the gate, and no debate. Life gets straight and great like you was the way. So glad I procrastinate. Look on my right hand, amputate. I remember the date, not cause I hate. Guess I stated, no lot to state. The day you leave me, the day you leave, I started to see my way. When you hurt me and went away, what I thought was a tragedy was a blessing. The day you up and leave was a blessing. A blessing. I'm feeling so blessed. Oh yes, when you leave was a blessing. A blessing. My hands up high, I'm winding low. I'm glad you go, like I never happy before. My hands up high, I'm winding low. I'm glad you go, I don't want to no more. Oh no, I don't want you no more. And I'm so glad that you're gone, girl. I'm so glad that you go. I want you to know what's a blessing. The day you up and leave was a blessing. A blessing. I'm feeling so blessed. Oh yes, when you leave was a blessing. A blessing. My hands up high, I'm winding low. I'm glad you go, like I never happy before. My hands up high, I'm winding low. I'm glad you go, I don't want to no more. Oh, no.
Tune in to Betterments with Whole Space, Monday through Thursday, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. for a program that educates and is solution-based. Base tackles the issues that matter to you, providing a platform to speak your mind and find solutions. That's Betterments with Base, with a focus on education and resolution. This is all about making things better for you. You can reach us via phone and WhatsApp to share your thoughts and find solutions to the issues that matter to you. So if you want to make a difference and have your voice heard, tune into Freedom 106.5 FM and join us for Betterments with Base, Monday through Thursday from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Better for you. Only on Freedom 106.5 FM, where we believe that your voice matters. Power up your Saturdays with 𝐘𝐿𝐕's electrifying energy on Speak Your Mind Saturdays. Here, you're not just tuning in, you're transforming the show into a vibrant tapestry of opinions, laughter, and spirited debates. Get set for a day packed with the fun, the burning issues, and 𝐘𝐿𝐕's infectious personality. Join the fun, fuel the conversation, speak your mind. Saturdays with 𝐘𝐿𝐕 on Freedom 106.5 FM. This is Freedom 106.5 FM, 106.5 FM. Your solution for current affairs and talk. Join the conversation. Build a better nation. Insightful discussions and interviews on national progress, the latest developments in environmental, social, and governance, plus corporate social responsibility. Freedom 106.5 FM gives you a voice. Freedom to inspire. Freedom to change. Speak your mind with Freedom 106.5 FM. She is fun and engaging. It's 𝐘𝐿𝐕 on Freedom 106.5 FM. Speak your mind.
And good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. It's just about 7 minutes after 3 in this beautiful Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome. Good afternoon to you. And it's time for We the Youth, which we do every Monday to Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Usually we'll be on CNC3 from 3 to 4. But today, we are staying right here on Freedom 106.5 FM. Thank you so much. Let's say thanks going out to Base for holding down the past 3. Wherever you're going, whatever you're doing, Base, please keep it safe. And of course, you can catch him tomorrow, same time, same place, from 12 noon to 3 p.m. on Betterments with Base. Now it's our turn to take you in the afternoon. We the Youth. Let's say good afternoon going out to my co-host, Anarion. Hi, Anarion.
Good afternoon, Gary, and how are you?
We are good. We are good here.
We are young.
Yes, of course we are. Nobody's not young here.
And it's Monday.
It's Marvelous Monday.
Have a well-packed cast for this entire week ahead of us. Are you excited?
Of course I am. Because this is the new program for the youth, by the youth, and of the youth. Yeah?
Yes,
So join us in the discussion today as we're going to be speaking about electronic sport, e-sport, sport and fitness, and animation. Yeah?
Yes, we are.
And let's say good afternoon to our guests. Let me see if I can get you guys up one time. Good afternoon going out to 𝐘𝐿𝐴, the director at the Scholastic Esports Research Center and a primary school teacher. We want to say good afternoon as well to Christopher Alexander, a coach, former athlete, a blockchain enthusiast, and an advocate for a healthy lifestyle. And not forgetting the beautiful Jessica. She's right in front of me, guys. And of course, you can stream us live on our Facebook page and our website, Freedom 106.5 FM. So you would see our awesome guest, Jessica 𝐘𝐿𝐴. 𝐘𝐿𝐴, I like that. A 3D artist and production lead at Coded Arts. And her passion for gaming technology and arts developed projects to youth training across the region. So we have a full cast today. Yes, Anarion?
Yes, we do.
So let's get into it.
We have to get rid of Rudolph for today.
Oh my gosh, why are you saying that?
We have so many wonderful young people who are experts in their field today.
Are you saying that Rudy is not so on the younger side?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I saw it on top of your head.
You saw it.
I saw the emoji. I saw
Thank
it.
God we're not on CNC3 and they can't see it. But I would like to invite our guests to tell us a little bit about themselves. So let's start with, as they say, ladies first.
Well, because Ole outnumbered us a bit, so yeah, we go first because we're the best. I must say, yeah.
Yes.
So hi, Jessica. Welcome to Freedom 106.5 FM.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I think ladies first have been the theme of the day. I've been getting that a lot. So.
Serious. So you're good to go.
Yeah. So my name is Jessica 𝐘𝐿𝐴. As I said, I'm the production lead at Coded Arts. So we are a boutique external development game studio, right, based right here in Trinidad and Tobago. What that really means is that we actually develop the art assets for video games. So
nice.
the props that you see in video games, we work on that here, and it's been quite a journey to really bring such an interesting and new feel to the Caribbean and to Trinidad. And so I'm very excited to talk more about it. You know, gaming is such a lucrative and youth-led kind of industry. It's very, very creative and allows room for expression. So.
Yeah, nice.
And well, with maintaining the idea of electronic and digitalization and things like that, I will invite 𝐘𝐿𝐴 to tell us a little bit about himself and what he does.
Hi, good day everyone.
Hi, 𝐘𝐿.
So I am proudly a teacher, an SCA teacher. Thankfully, the exam is over now.
Oh, thank God, yeah.
Shout out to St. Margaret Boys Anglican and my class that just did SCA.
Nice.
So outside of being an SCA teacher, I am the difference between esports and scholastic esports. Esports is competitive video game playing. Scholastic esports is using gaming to help education, social emotional learning, and a host of other beautiful things. And just to catch you up to where I am, in 2025, I am one of 14 international scholastic esports ambassadors internationally. Nice. So I'm partnered with a global organization named NASEF, that is the premier organization in scholastic esports internationally. And one of the beautiful things that you'd love to hear from that is, as being one of 14 specialists, Trinidad and Tobago is one of the 14 countries internationally that is specialized in scholastic esports.
Wow. Well, that's
impressive.
Amazing.
It is.
It really is.
Yeah.
And well, let's not forget the physical aspect of
we
life.
can't.
So I'd like to invite former national athlete in the field of swimming, Christopher Alexander, to tell us a bit about himself and his journey.
Hi, Chris.
Hi guys. Well, it's been a long journey. I mean, we look young.
Mm-hmm.
We look young, but, the numbers adding up. They're choking up. So I'm really passionate about health, fitness, wellness, the balanced lifestyle. Not just a lot of kids are now just behind the screens a lot of the time. Yes, it's good. It's advancements in technology. There's a lot to learn, but also we really need to keep a keen sense of self-awareness and
Right.
making sure that you're very, physically fit adapt for the world out there.
Yeah.
Swimming really helped transition my life and taught me how to balance my time, a lot of time management. We have 168 hours in a week, and maybe about a third of that we sleep in. So how we're going to make best use of the rest of the time. So, blockchain enthusiasts, part of freedom. That's just generally what it is. We're looking and we're seeking tools to help us free ourselves from all the shackles, the unseen shackles that bind us from just enjoying life as we're supposed to, as we feel in the pinch now here in this country.
Yes.
So,
All right.
in a nutshell, I don't have any nice accolades to talk about. I'm just a human, just like everyone else here, and yeah.
No, but being a swimmer though, that's a big thing, Not plenty people could swim like me.
Yeah.
So you have your accolades right there already.
Yeah, part of it there that we'd like to talk about too is just even like a national school swimming program. Something
that would be
coaches
nice.
have been talking about. So at least at least we could save the next generation from drownings and enjoy the waterfall, enjoy the beaches, not have to worry about. At least it put the parents' mind at ease. Even if the parents don't want to learn to swim, at least
teach your kids.
Yeah, teach your kids.
Because I'd always believed that, like when I was going to school, I find that swimming should have been mandatory. It's a mandatory subject. But when I say subject, I mean, like how you have PE, right? Swimming is sure. You have to do it, and it's starting from like first year, come straight up. So by the time you're in standard 3, he's a big swimmer. You could go and join the clubs, and we can have some
Correct. And it would be a nice net capture. So if we start young and we see the talent, we'll be able to branch them off into, I guess, different clubs, as you say, under specific coaches based on your geographical location.
Yeah.
And really capture the talent. And who knows, we have an next George Buffalo or Dylan
Exactly.
Carter over there.
Yeah.
Even Chantal McLean, I remember she represented us.
Yeah.
For swimming
In the Olympics.
correct.
Yeah,
Nice.
and how can you not live on an island and don't know how to swim? That is something that amazes me. No offense, Carrie.
No, it's very true. I always think about that as well. I'm really grateful that I learned a little bit when I was younger, but I meet a lot of people, even in my office, who don't know how to swim. So we try to even do excursions to take them, okay, we're going to teach you how to swim, right? And I really like what you said there about looking at the talent pool, right, putting it in education, swimming, right? And I think that captures even what I was thinking about for us when it comes to like technology, right? Like I'm seeing that there actually is a decrease in computer literacy in the younger generations after the smartphone age and things like that. And I was always a kind of like techie, nerdy kind of kid, and being able to have that space to capture, hey, you could have another, you're going to say Steve Jobs or whatever, but kids who are into the idea, because I remember as a kid having ideas about this tech world, thinking it would be really great to have things that could just sync to the cloud. Like, these are my thoughts, but where was the access for something like that for me to develop, right?
Yeah.
And in Trinidad, there are so many young people with ideas and just not the access to be able to, how to even conceptualize.
Yeah. I know
So
about that.
what I'm hearing is there may be a missing link within some of the policies and some of the things that we have.
Yes.
But that's a little later on in the conversation.
Yeah.
So what exactly is there for young people right now in the realm of, let's say, animation and esports, or scholastic esports, I should say?
You take this? Yeah?
Sure. So currently there are actually several opportunities available to, I would say, children and teenagers at this point. So for example, for SEA students or primary school students, there's a company named Break Time. And what they are doing, they are like a moving caravan. So for these primary school teachers, or SA teachers, search Break Time. They are one of those companies that'll come to your school and do video games at your school. So that's a good initiative for the primary school students. For secondary school, there's also another company named The Great Gaming Lounge. And what they do esports camps. Well, not only esports camps, but also esports meetups. So one exciting thing that just happened this weekend was there was a secondary school showcase where we had QRC playing against Presentation College, playing against, I don't want to say the wrong schools, but it was a 4-school versus. And they were playing Street Fighter 6 and Smash Ultimate at Trinity Mall. And it was really impressive to see, because for those that don't know, I was a national esports player.
Before you continue, Akil, for our listeners, the ones who not really esporty or have an idea of what we are speaking about, kindly define what is esports and what is scholastic esports, because I mean some of our listeners, they are more of the senior side, so they may not understand the meanings of scholastic esports. So break it down for us a bit.
Let's take it a bit simpler for the older people. I'm sure it's sure my generation who is listening remember arcade days when you played Street Fighter 2, Ryu, Ken, Guile. That's esports, where you compete against somebody, but with prizes. So money is on the line, $1,000, $10,000.
What you saying?
Yeah, even games like FIFA. Now there's a difference between playing FIFA at home and playing FIFA at a competition. Anybody can play FIFA online, but when you come out to Long Circular Mall and it's 64 people and it's $10,000 on the line, that is esports.
Wow.
So esports is where you play a game competitively for a prize, usually cash or trophy.
Right.
And then so there's esports and there's casual gaming.
And there's a niche for that here in Trinidad and Tobago.
And a lot of people don't know that for over 20 years, esports has existed in Trinidad and Tobago.
What?
I started esports in 2003. That should give you a little hint of my age. I had started playing competitively since 2003 in different esports titles such as StarCraft, Street Fighter Alpha. So, and for people who understand those games, you're like, you Google it, it's like, wait, when did that come out? Or Warcraft 3?
Warcraft, I know about Warcraft. I mean, I was lost, but I know about it. But that's great, because now that you are here, Akil, I did not know that was a thing. No, we used to hear about it, but getting into that space, how can a youth, a kid, someone who is interested and believes that there's more to playing FIFA than home in the bedroom, how can someone get into something like that?
At this point, because the sad reality is there was actually a downgrade in what happened. When I started, I would say it's the golden era. There were different esport facilities. There was esport teams. There were multiple esport events a year. There was even bigger. There was big tournaments such as Arena 1. That was in the stadium, where the whole stadium was filled with PlayStations, computers, but that was back in my heyday.
Right.
Now in 2025, unfortunately, the cycle has to start over, which means a rebuilding. So to answer your question, for the students or the children or teenagers that are interested in getting involved in esports, you have to do a little research. Now, the good thing is this generation is good at using TikTok and they're good at using social media.
Right.
So I would tell you, Google or research Trinidad and Tobago esports, and you would be surprised to find out that a game you may be interested in is an esports title.
An esport. So is it that, before we continue, Rudy said he's listening to you and he's locked on, and I
saw the message.
So good afternoon to you, Rudy. He's our other host, but he can't make it today. But we're gonna have the fun for him today. So when he comes tomorrow, he'll take it up from there.
Of course.
So you said you could just Google it, esports in Trinidad and Tobago, and tell us, how is it simple or easy to get into? Because we have youths listening who are interested and they want to know. Yes, we could Google it, but when we Google it, is it that we have to go to a different club, or which parts of Trinidad and Tobago would have clubs?
Not necessarily. No. Look, I personally have made money from streaming on Twitch and YouTube playing games.
What?
Sit down home with about 4 or 5 friends and we log on to Call of Duty, we log on to Fortnite or Apex Legends or something of the sort. And you just go live on YouTube, you go live on Twitch, and people just donate money to you just to see you play and hear the old talk that you have amongst your friends and things like that. And it's fun. So what I am getting at is parents or the older generation need to break the habit of understanding that gaming is not just an activity or a pastime, it's a way to make money. Some of the youngest billionaires outside in the States are people who play game.
Oh.
So I know of like some of the persons I follow, they go live every day. They have a schedule. It's like a job. They go live from 8 to 10. They take a break from 10 to 11, and then they go back live from 12 to 2 and
Right.
different streams, different games with hundreds of thousands of followers and subscribers who pay 5 and 10 US to subscribe.
Wow.
You do that math, that's easily $5-6 million a month.
What you say a month?
I'm saying a month.
Who could teach me how to play these games here?
Here's why I have to jump in.
Right.
Now, I love what you just brought to the table there. And that is, what you just said there is a reality. Streaming is the future. In fact, it's the reality. It's not the future. It's happening.
Yeah.
Streaming has a presence. Streaming is available to people. But one of the things with, and Jessica said it just now, there's actually a gap in between what we learned or what we understood and the current generation, where things that came naturally to us, we have to teach them now. So something simple as Street Fighter 2. All of us know Street Fighter 2.
We do.
We know how to throw Hadouken. Children now do not know how to throw Hadouken. You have to teach them press down, forward, and punch.
Yeah.
And for us, it's like, but that's straightforward. Playing FIFA, X is the pass. They don't know. They just press buttons. So things that come naturally to us, we now have to take the natural thing we learned and break it down into a workshop, and so on to teach them. So even streaming is something we have to teach the children,
them.
and know, because also that's digital literacy and being responsible. Because as we understand, there's also the danger to streaming.
It is, and I was just coming to that. Some of the challenges, what you know of that we as parents or even our grandparents or our parents, let's say our parents, they would have their version of it, and the internet is not a safe place, and what you're talking to. What are some of the challenges as a scholastic esports player, or you interact with it? What are some of the challenges that you hear?
And you just actually mentioned one of the biggest things. Internationally, child security is a very big thing. Because at the end of the day, the internet is a very scary place in 2025. Let's be very real here. It's very easy to dupe a child. It's very easy to take advantage of a child. And when you're bringing the internet, something that's unfiltered and raw, you have to be very careful when bringing it into a school setting. So in America in particular, they have very strict laws. So for you all familiar with Discord is banned. That is straight out banned.
Right.
Certain chat allowances, we might say Twitch is okay. In some areas, Twitch is okay. In some areas, YouTube is okay. So in terms of being careful with children, there have to be a lot of safeguards to ensure that no strangers could encounter the children. You have to be careful that no unknown people, even things like cheating and modding. So it's a lot of teaching the students what is the right path and a lot of discipline. And of course, and if you do it the correct way, and once you teach it to them to be responsible, uphold the rules, and have that discipline, it's a beautiful thing.
Before we go to the break at around 3:30, where are we at in Trinidad and Tobago when it comes to esport? Where are we?
You want it real?
Please.
The reality is, the Ministry of Education and as well as other ministries, they have taken an interest, but they have not taken an investment.
Right.
I believe they are aware. Like I said, I believe, I would like to think so. They understand the need and the importance for it, but the investment and the proper infrastructure to do it properly across all schools, as well even putting those safeguards in place, that has not happened yet, unfortunately.
So, is it that we can look forward to that maybe in a few years or so? Maybe in about 3 to 5 years, if we could? You think we would be able to?
I know so.
Yeah?
I know so. Because if we did it 20 years ago, we could do it in 2025. So we definitely have the ability, but it's definitely a matter of support and awareness through programs such as this.
Right. And okay, but we got that. So guys, it's just about 27 minutes after 3. I know we have to go to a break in a short while, but if you're now joining us, good afternoon and welcome. Freedom 106.5 FM. 𝐘𝐿𝐤 is here. I'm alongside Anarion Mason. This is We the Youth, and today we're discussing
Esports.
electronic sports. Can we say esports all the time, right? You think we will forget?
No,
Electronic sports?
We've learned now that email stands for electronic email. Electronic mail, right? And everybody uses email.
Yes.
So check your emails. We don't say check your electronic mail.
No, but
So
we'll
let's
say
get them in the habit of understanding
esports.
sports stands
Yes.
for electronic sports.
All right, we'll be good. So you see, just like that, Anarion just showed us. So guys, continue keeping it locked as we are discussing esports, sport and fitness and animation on We the Youth. We are here until 5 p.m. Continue sending us those messages via WhatsApp 306-1065. We're going to take a quick break and be back. Keep it locked.
She is fun and engaging. It's 𝐘𝐿𝐤 on Freedom 106.5 FM. Speak your mind.
For generations we've been serving you, giving you the best for less, that's what we do. Friendly faces, fresh foods on every aisle. At JTA Supermarkets you are sure to smile. The best prices each day. Come to JTA, you feel like family. Here at JTA, shop safe and happily. When you're at JTA, there's more in store today. It's all at JTA. Whoa, at JTA. JTA Supermarkets. Your total bill always costs less at JTA.
Are you ready for the heat, excitement, and music? Get ready to tap into the source for all the latest tea on the Caribbean's top performers. It's ZAG right here on CNC3. Stay ahead of the culture and get the behind-the-scenes access you've always wanted with exclusive celebrity interviews, red carpet moments, and news scoops you just can't miss. It's our culture brought to you live and direct. Get ready. It's time for ZAG, only on CNC3, premiering February 4th and airing every Tuesday at 8 p.m.
Start your day with hard-hitting interviews and news with the Morning Rumble. Weekdays 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Freedom 106.5 FM. Join Satish Mahabe as he tackles the issues and controversial topics.
You don't need to tell the public why he appealing.
Well, I think he should.
No, what you think he should do and what he has to do is two totally different things.
You'll hear from the experts and have the chance to speak your mind on the topics of the day.
Do you have a question for our guest?
Yes, sir. I
Get to the question, please.
Non-topic is off limits on the Morning Rumble. So whether you're just starting your day or stuck in traffic, join us weekdays from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. for a morning show that will leave you informed, fired up, and ready to take on the world. The Morning Rumble with Satish Mahabe, only on Freedom 106.5 FM.
The following is a paid political announcement.
This is the voice of the PNM.
I know one of the most difficult things for a parent is to make sure your children are fed and that they go to school. So again, sitting with the Minister of Finance, we already have no VAT on school books. How do we help parents reduce the cost of sending your children to school? I could tell you that a PNM government elected on the 28th of April, that this responsible PNM government is going to remove VAT on all school uniforms. Again, after careful consultation with the Minister of Finance, I am pleased to tell you that this PNM government, elected on the 28th of April, are going to double the number of food cards for Trinidad and Tobago. After very, very careful consideration, I am pleased to announce that all public service pensions, all retired public servants who receive a public service pension will now receive that tax-free. No more tax on public service pensions.
This is a new chapter for TNT. We're red, ready, and responsible on April 28th. Vote PNM.
Great is the PNM.
That was a paid political announcement.
Expression is who we are. Take control. The all-new talk radio. Freedom 106.5. Speak your mind.
It is time.
It's your time to speak with 𝐘𝐿𝐤 on Freedom 106.5 FM.
And welcome back, viewers and listeners on Freedom 106.5. We're only here on Freedom 106.5 today as we're not on CNC3. So you need to follow us on Facebook and go to Trinidad and Tobago Broadcasting Network website and you can see us live in studio. For those of you all watching, hi, I'm Anarion. And I'm here with 𝐘𝐿𝐤, the beautiful 𝐘𝐿𝐤 this
Hello,
afternoon.
hi.
And I'm joined by my 3 guests as we continue our conversation on esports, sports and fitness, and animation.
Yeah.
So, Jessica, as before we took to the break, 𝐘𝐿𝐤 was making some very, very good points about electronic sports. And seeing that you are at Coded Arts and you're into animation, I think give our viewers and listeners some insights into that aspect of your own.
Sure, of course. So as 𝐘𝐿 talked about esports, you're playing the game, you have tournaments. From our side, we're looking at developing the games that you play, right? And there has been so much opportunity for that. Just because of this digital age, the way that we work, our content is digital. So we're able to sell our assets just over the internet. And that's been a way for us to actually earn a revenue and a living and build an actual studio, functional company. So if you look at, you know, the big studios everyone thinks about, you know, the EA, Activisions, those type of studios, a lot of the games that we play, they are not made all in-house. They need to find partners around the world to work with them, right? So there's studios all over the world, and that's the slice of the pie that we've been trying to build right here in Trinidad and Tobago, where, you know, we build a talent pool of people that can actually supplant into this industry. So if you are a person that's into art, you're into technology, you're a sculptor, you like to sculpt, everything is digital. You can sculpt digitally. You can I can create this room digitally for you, you know, and this is an asset that can be put up and sold on a marketplace, on a digital marketplace. You know, there's many different avenues in terms of just exploring, because young people love video games. You might play a game and you just watch, ooh, that car looking nice, boy, Enforcer. You know, how do they make that? And there's a studio that's the entire job, is to make those cars in the video game, right? And they make a living, lots of money. Probably drive them cars themselves. Right? So there is, I think is what has been interesting, especially since we're coming out of the pandemic. There has been a surge in the game development space, and this need for external developers, what we're called. And so a lot of work was sent to one side of the world, and now it's nearshoring. So I say again, Trinidad, we have a unique opportunity because we are close to North American markets. We speak English, the time zone. All we had to do was build our quality of work to that kind of standard. You know?
So how can, as I asked 𝐘𝐿𝐤 earlier, how can someone get into doing that? Do they need to go to a particular school? Do they have to have some type of creative hands? Because I mean, the ideas and the creativity comes out. So how can they start getting into that field?
The first way of some people is, you know, University of YouTube, right?
University of YouTube, yes.
Exactly.
I love it.
At this point, there's so much just free content that you can just dive in. And the software, they also make free. And they realized a long time ago that we don't have enough bodies to even like work on these projects. So we need to give all the software for free. So there's student licenses, there's free licenses. You want Unreal Engine to make your own games. A lot of young people using Blender, which is a 3D modeling package. And you can just get started. I mean, there are dedicated programs. So University of Trinidad and Tobago, who we've partnered with, they are our main source of talent right now. There's that program. You can study the game art. There's a Bachelor of Arts in digital media with a specialization in game design. And so we actually do a lot of internships with the students that come from there. So that's an avenue if you really want to be serious with it. But, you know, you want to just touch it a little bit, there's Blender. And what has been interesting is that it talked about, you know, tournaments and making money. You can also make assets, put on the internet and sell it. Right? And you can make money. You know, somebody can make a request, you know, I want this model for my game, I need a mod or something for my game, you know. There's options for young kids. I mean, I'm sure they know about this.
and then, well, I mean, we know the kids know about this, but for some of our listeners who are listening and locked on to Freedom 106.5, we might know it is going on here, you know, but, you know, that's why you are here, you know, to explain and break down these ways, these avenues.
Yeah, I want to add as well, you asked about if you're into drawing and stuff. A lot of people, you know, drawing can be scary. You know, it might be like, I can't draw. But, you know, you don't have to have that drawing technical skills if you decide to learn the program, right? And there's other areas, if you're really into code, you need coders, right? We always need to partner people who create the sound design, people with storytelling, and
so even those with like a musical background, and then they could do scoring for the games and things like that.
Yes.
Now, Chris, I don't mean to cut you, Jessica. Is it that simple to get into the realm of sports, let's say to compete at a national level, or even self at, you know, to represent your school or things like that?
Representing the school, yeah, I mean, you attending the school, you make the times in terms of like swimming, running, football, you know, there's a big pool of kids. It's 500 kids on average in a school, right? So I guess the ones who put in the work is really what I want to say will get the opportunities and the chances. So, you know, like jumping in the pool and swimming a 50-meter freestyle or running a 100-meter, and let's say you want to make the relay team, is only 4 people on that team, or a A team and a B team. So the ones who really dedicate themselves to putting in that effort, attending all training sessions, you know, watch your mom and dad and say, oh, I'm tired, my belly hurting me today, I'm feeling sick or whatever. And like, I mean, if you're really feeling sick, I hear you. But sometimes kids just say that because they don't want to go. And I would say 80% of the time I didn't want to attend training because it was hard. It's not an easy thing. It's tough work. But seeing your friends there and everybody sweating it out together and in the same pain together, you know, at the end of the day is a nice experience. You know, that shared experience of camaraderie. I would say pushing each other, a person swimming behind in the pool, you don't want this person to lap you or touch your toes, and just put in the efforts. You know, some coaches shout behind you, some coaches motivate you, some give you push-ups, tell you go and run a lap, you know, like whatever it takes for you to get the job done.
No, what would you say is the driving factor that pushed you or other persons that you know? Because, for example, I played football and cricket during lunchtime and after school in school, but I didn't go to be a national footballer or cricketer or even self-represent at club or anything like that. So what is that difference? What's that driving factor?
I think it's a lot of intrinsic motivation. There's only so much the parents and the coaches around could do to tell you or help motivate you. Like a big part of it is training the mindset or getting them to see how this could benefit them, or I don't show them the fun aspects of the particular sport of interest, so they themselves wake up and are hungry for it. And I think once you unlock that part of the mindset of the athlete, that they themselves want to do it, you just groom that and you just keep fostering that that passion per se.
Okay, sure, Jessica. So you.
No, I was when he said well said, because sometimes we use that analogy in work when it comes to the artist. It's like you're training that muscle of being an artist. So it is those things, the passion. We have to, you know, work hard together. Sometimes it's late nights, you know. It is that same kind of drive you're saying. So I'm hearing a lot of parallels in what you're saying.
A lot of the science that is in sports is replicated throughout the business world. Like there's no other field of discipline that I say is more studied than the athletes. You know.
Right. But let me jump back to Jessica. Jessica in animation, because I'm quite interested and intrigued about it. Yeah, because I feel like I could just make some grass and sell it. Digital grass, you know. Because listen, I could do that. I sure could do that in my mind, right? But what in terms of what we have here in Trinidad and Tobago to facilitate youths who would like to get into that? How do you rate us? Do you think that we are a society that looking to go into that direction and to get it involved in animation and 3D?
Yeah, that's a multi-pronged question, because there have been efforts, you know, but I think it comes back to often how we tackle things in the country, and then there's mindset as well. So a lot of it is in the private sector and us as individuals really pushing and rallying for it. But in terms of exposure to children, I have seen like there's a huge interest, because we look at the Animation Festival in Trinidad, the Anime Crew Festival that hosts, and we are able to capture interest or allow children to know that there's a space here for it. And and there has been a lot of years of advocacy on my part and many other people's part to say, all right, these are the kinds of things we need to build in order to allow this to work. So like our studio has been really big in providing a space for artists to grow and learn and really become part of a global industry.
Right. Yeah. So what do you think that we can do as whether it's the government, whether it's the private entities, what can they do or how can they get involved in that and make it attractive for the youths to come into and get into that? Because what you mentioning there, that's a real serious money making thing, you know. And I think the more that we have from here in Trinidad and Tobago, it could even add to our existing society. So what do you think? What do you think should be done or can be done to get youths or even people like me, because I am a youth, all right, involved in this entire animation and 3D gaming and that kind of thing?
Well, for me, a lot of it is education, educational drives, access to the technology in schools, so computers, access to better labs and equipment. So really investing and looking at this as a serious part, because when we look at models from other countries that have done this, like Canada, for example, and how they invest in the research and development side of it. We can really become specialists, and I think that's the area that we have to focus on. We're a small nation, so the knowledge pool, I think we can't solve our problems by throwing bodies at it. So making a really specialized population, so young people, in terms of how we look at the education and what we invest in terms of that. And even to grow these sectors, you know, like things like tax incentives and stuff for game companies, projects, investing in youth projects as well. So from very young, I think continuing to build things like business incubators for children, for young people, and is one way to continue the success of what has been had so far. We have platforms, but I think sustainability needs to be built into how we create those things.
So, for example, our guest on Friday, when speaking about agriculture, Christian Young Singh as well as Judy White, they both told us that they needed a winner for the sector, for the agriculture sector, to bring that forward. Now, if you do want to catch that whole episode, it is on Facebook. You know, you could go back to the live stream. But do we have any winners in that field, in the realm of esports and animation?
I could speak from our side, and then you can talk about esports. I think we have maybe some individual wins, but I really could be biased when I'm saying our studio right now, because
plug that in.
I love to say this because we went to this conference called External Developers Conference in Vancouver some years ago. When we went there wasn't anybody in the Caribbean sector on that map, right? Wow. The next year we went back, we saw a little dot on the map. They show all the countries that are a part of this industry. So that means that us attending now allowed our little dot to show up on their map. Wow, nice. Right? And so to us, that has been a win because we went to the conference and we actually got an award. And so really building a presence that, hey, you know, people don't know that Trinidad, the Caribbean can be a tech hub, can have a knowledge pool, a tech pool right here. And so I would look at us collectively as that win and continuing to push to that.
Nice. So it's just about 3:45. We're gonna take a quick break and come back. We have a voice note. All right, not a voice note, a message here on WhatsApp. And of course, guys, you can get into the conversation, get into the action. Send us those voice notes and those messages on 306-1065, 345. That's my time check. We're gonna take a break and be back. Keep it locked.
In a time of promises and politics, only one thing truly matters: your voice, your freedom. As Trinidad and Tobago heads to the polls, Freedom 106.5 FM brings you the clearest conversations, the toughest questions, and real issues affecting your vote. No spin, no fluff, just fearless talk radio, live analysis, and unfiltered voices from every corner of the nation. Stream us live at www.freedom1065.com and follow the discussion on our social media pages at Freedom 106.5 FM, your voice, your freedom, only on Freedom 106.5 FM.
Good afternoon, guys. Freedom 106.5 FM. Carrie V is here in studio. This is We the Youth. We do it every Monday to Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Usually live on CNC3 and right here on Freedom 106.5 FM. This new program for the youth, by the youth, and of the youth. As today we are discussing esports, sport and fitness, and animation with our guests 𝐘𝐿𝐤𝐤, Christopher Alexander, and Jessica Yorchin. We're going to take a quick one and be back. Keep it locked. More of your questions, your voice notes, your messages, 306-1065. We'll be back.
The following is a paid political announcement.
This is the voice of the PNM.
That decision that we all take is going to decide the course of the future of Trinidad and Tobago. I am asking every citizen who wants a stable, caring, listening, strong, respected, experienced government to build Trinidad and Tobago and to unify us and to write a new chapter for Trinidad and Tobago, to vote for the People's National Movement.
This is a new chapter for TNT. We're red, ready, and responsible. On April 28th, vote PNM.
Great is the PNM.
That was a paid political announcement.
The best insight, instant feedback, accountability. The all-new Talk Radio Freedom 106.5.
So we the youth, I'm joined here by the lovely Carrie V.
Hello.
And my three guests in the studio, Christopher, 𝐘𝐿, and Jessica. Now, before the break, we were asking, are there any winners in the electronic arts and in the animation studios and sectors? And Jessica told us, well, she won. Her studio won. So let's jump over to 𝐘𝐿.
All right. Just want to give two really quick, important stories. One is about a program named Farmcraft. So as the name sounds, Farmcraft is an international agricultural program that is done in Minecraft education. And it's held by NASEF. It's an international, it's open, all countries can enter it. So it started off in 2021. Trinidad entered the competition in 2023. Now I spearheaded the project as the Scholastic Esports Ambassador, and I spearheaded it with one of my students who was doing SEA that year. Shout out to Slim Devonish, to the Devonish family. Thanks for your support. Now, as you know, SEA is a high pressure situation. Now, this student, the timeline was Farmcraft released in April. SEA was the 2 weeks before Farmcraft. So his mother, adamant, Mr. O'Connor, are you sure my son could play a game and write SEA? Me confident as ever. Of course, your son is fine. Now it ended up fine because he passed for Queen's Royal College, his first choice. And not only did Salim study for SEA, did well in his exam, he learned Farmcraft in less than a week. So in less than a week, because the deadline was really quick, in less than a week, he entered Farmcraft in 2023 and placed top 50 internationally. He was in the top 1% of the world. No, he actually had top 25 score. Let me be right here. Top 25 score internationally. In 2024, when the program expanded, as the program got more popular, there were over 10,000 entrants. And in 2024, Trinidad had two teams, one from St. Margaret Boys, one from Queen's Royal College, which was spearheaded by Salim, of course, and we got 2 scores in the top 100 in an international agricultural program. So that program focused on sustainable development, best practices, as well as Minecraft skills. So it's a perfect blend of educational and real-world practices. So in my opinion, that was a huge win for in the realm of agriculture and esports.
It was. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, and one final thing, which was I think was the sorry, I know it sounds really big, and also the last thing, which was even the cherry on top of it. Salim actually did several art for Farmcraft, and it was displayed in the United Nations World Food Forum in 2024 in Spain. So Trinidad and Tobago had displayed art on being held by NASEF on because unfortunately I didn't get to travel. Guys, if you're a sponsor, I want to go to these international conferences. But yes, we had international representation at the UN World Food Forum in Spain, Trinidad and Tobago, big and bold for farming.
Nice, congratulations. And Rudy says There's only one college. Congratulations to him. I am not surprised the best went to QRC.
Here's what I'm saying. I am low-key glad Rudy is not in studio. Because I wouldn't have heard the end of that. At least it's just a message and we can move fast.
Well, by the way, I'm a QRC old boy, so...
Yes.
I support you 100%.
Proud. Yes, proud. Nice.
Okay, and well, of course, we've heard about some wins in the animation and the esports, but we can't forget the physical sports. So what about you, Christopher?
Well, yeah, in sports, well, I'm sure some of these students listening on, they will have some friends that are on a football team, maybe even a swimming team, a cricket team. And I remember back in my day, well, I'm sure it still happens, that they would have like award ceremonies once a year or something like, and like the good athletes are recognized, whether it be from sports day or a particular swim meet, or if they won the intercol championship, you might get a principal holiday. I remember I had a friend in school that if he broke a national record, the principal would give them a day off from school like that. So they used to make the joke and be like, hey, when you're breaking the next record again, bro, you just want a day off, you know?
Right.
So, but the small wins as well, like, I know not everybody might break a record as like one person in how many ever, hundreds or thousands over a period of time, but I mean, like, making specific times or milestones and goals, it opens up the door to university scholarships per se. So if you're coming from a low-income housing situation, and you really have the discipline and the drive to go forward, not just with your academics. You only need to get a fully academic scholar. You could get a athletic scholarship where, yes, it's still on top of your books, but you're managing your time well and you're making your times for your swimming, for your sports and whatnot. And universities really look at this for more than one reason or the other, because it shows that you have a level of discipline that the average person does not have.
Agreed, yeah.
So to manage your overall lifestyle of, okay, how am I waking up 5 o'clock in the morning and getting prepared to make it for training 5:30, and then 1 hour in the pool, stretching, go get something to eat, get ready for school, make sure I have all your projects down, still stay awake for class, which might be a problem in the first 2 periods, but that's where the extra lessons and you have to put in the extra work when it is that it comes to that. It really boils down to the individual and their support system, I should say, because they can't make it to school and to training and all these things by themselves. Active parents in the home, or parental figures, I should say, as well, that would take an interest in seeing these students and athletes make their times and make it to training on time and reach the school on time and do their projects. And as the parents said, could my child play game and do SCA at the same time?
Right,
like,
yeah.
That's the juggling, and a lot of people can't perceive that in their mind, and it is possible because there are students and
there are success stories
that do it over the years. So
I agreed.
So just even getting into a good university, if you don't want to attend UE or UTT down here and you want to get out there and see what the world has to offer, sports is a really good avenue to also explore those options.
Yeah, and I think the biggest sports out there may be like what, football and cricket, tennis.
Football, cricket,
But
tennis.
I not just to jump in here, and I'm being real as real could be. I think that in Trinidad and Tobago we don't take sports seriously and we don't invest enough in sport.
Correct.
And in my view, Carrie V's view, that they don't put enough attention on sports, and even the youths and them playing football around in the neighborhood and playing cricket and even swimming, they don't even get a chance or an opportunity to go on a national level.
Well,
and I'm disappointed putting that out there.
The question is how many actual swimming pools open in these community centers, because the one in my area is closed. I could tell you that since the pandemic it's been closed and it hasn't been reopened.
The one in my area is open, but here one that does open from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. No, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Who is going to be swimming between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m.? Who? Not me. Oh, none of the school children, because they're in school. They don't even open on a Saturdays like regular. So, all right, no problem. You're opening from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Then open on a weekend, Saturday and Sunday from, 7 a.m. to about 5 p.m. so that children can get an opportunity, or youths can get the opportunity to go and just make some laps around the pool.
No, but for example, I have a friend. She's a little older than me, but she's still young. She has a daughter, and her daughter is in preschool. And every Friday for the month is a different activity. So one Friday is karate, one is swimming, one is badminton, and so forth. So from an early age, getting them involved in sports like that builds the discipline and builds the expectation of looking forward to doing something physical at the end of the week.
Right, but as in the school sense. But what I mean, like if somebody like me, I'm small and I'm going swimming every Friday for the next 5 years. I'm expecting to, when I join a club, I succeed in the club. I want to go on the national team. And when it's time for me to go on the national team, because I have my expectations, because I've been winning. I'm a winner, right? When I go on the national team, it's a red tape. And why? Because your friend had to go here, your friend had to go there. And no, I find it's too much bureaucracy. And I am very disappointed in Trinidad and Tobago sports. And that is Carrie V's view. That's my thing.
Funding at the end of the day will help a lot of kids reach really far. And
wow.
Kids who reach far are the ones who have the means and the abilities to go to these extra camps and seek the extra help. And parents invest in them, family invest in them, or they get corporate sponsorship depending on how driven the kids are. But it really all comes down to funding, because let's say it's called a sport and discipline for a reason, right? So what you're talking about, a different activity every Friday gives them exposure to a barrage of sports, and then you could decide, okay, well, which one am I more keen towards, and which one do I want to really invest my time into? Because on a competitive level, the extreme being like Phelps, you're in the water 6 days a week, and you're training for 8 hours a day. I mean, now, like, at this stage, that's a little bit hard. So,
listen, we have our 4 p.m. news coming up next, so we have to cut this conversation short, but I want to start back with this, because I'm kind of passionate about this sport thing, right?
Is there anything you're not passionate about?
I'm passionate about everything. Every single thing. Yes. So, guys, our 4 p.m. news is next. Continue keeping it locked to Freedom 106.5 FM as we bring to you our 4 p.m. news, courtesy Bagwan Singh's Hardware and Republic Bank Limited. Keep it locked.
Expression is who we are. Take control. The all-new Talk Radio. Freedom 106.5. Speak your mind.
This is Freedom 106.5 FM, powered by the TBC Radio Network, the nation's biggest and best network, included sister stations, Sky 99.5 FM, Vibe City 105 FM, 95, The Ultimate One, Sangeet 106.1 FM, and Slam 100.5 FM. This is the 4 p.m. news, courtesy Bagwan Singh's Hardware and Republic Bank Limited.
Good afternoon, I'm 𝐘𝐿𝐤 with headline news on CNC3, Guardian, and the TBC Radio Network. 3 people have already been arrested for inciting political violence online. As the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service confirms, it is taking a zero-tolerance approach to threats made during the general election campaign. Acting Police Commissioner Junior Benjamin said the TTPS has been monitoring social media posts inciting violence against supporters of political parties. He said there are provisions in the law to take action against this kind of behavior, and they've already made arrests. Political analyst Dr. Bishnu Raghunath described the circulation of videos appearing to promote violence toward rival political parties as reprehensible and warned that they threaten to bring the entire campaign into disrepute. 14 people have been charged for gang-related activities as the country's state of emergency officially came to an end over the weekend. National Security Minister Marvin Gonzalez confirmed the arrests on Monday but told reporters he could not yet say if any of those individuals had appeared in court. The state of emergency declared on December 30th last year was lifted on Saturday, April 13th. Gonzalez, who took over the national security portfolio in March, described the emergency measures members as a success. He pointed to what he called a notable achievement, a 30% reduction in murders and other serious crimes for the year so far, compared to the same period in 2024. The SOE under former Minister 𝐓𝐡𝐢𝐬 had allowed for the preventative detention of several alleged gang members and suspected criminals. Gonzalez said that kind of enforcement, leading to real charges and possible convictions, had not happened outside the state of emergency. A National Security Minister Marvin Gonzalez is under fire from former Government Minister Jack Warner, who's accusing him of encouraging political violence on the campaign trail. The backlash follows a recent PNM rally in Aruca Lopino, where Gonzalez used colorful language to suggest it was time to bury Warner politically. Warner, clearly upset by the remarks, described them as dangerous and irresponsible, saying they risk fueling real-world harm. He also criticized what he saw as a troubling shift in political discourse, especially coming from a sitting Minister of National Security. Warner recalled once having a cordial working relationship with Gonzalez, but now believes the minister has lowered his standards to appeal to a restless political base. In response, Gonzalez dismissed the criticism, saying Warner is actively campaigning against him and shouldn't be surprised by political attacks. He described Warner's reaction as exaggerated and insisted he's simply playing his part in the campaign. And Trinidad and Tobago and Nigeria can now be directly connected by air. This as the TNT government signed a bilateral air services agreement with the government of Nigeria at Piako International Airport this morning. The agreement, which has been in the works since 2003, will allow airlines to operate direct flights between Trinidad and Tobago and Nigeria, transporting passengers and cargo. On hand to sign the agreement was Nigeria's Aviation and Aerospace Development Minister Festus Keyamo, who touted both the economic and cultural advantages of connecting with Nigeria. There is no start date for the flights, but Keyamo said work would start immediately. And this has been Headline News. Look out for another news update at the top of the hour.
And that was the 4 p.m. news on Freedom 106.5 FM, powered by the TBC Radio Network, the nation's biggest and best network. The 4 p.m. news was courtesy Bhagwan Singh's Hardware and Republic Bank Limited.
At Port of Spain and Shoguana's Bhagwan Singh's, we put the B into building. Best brands, best prices, best quality guaranteed. Get huge savings on rebars, BRC, RHS, flats, squares, lumber, plywood, and beams. Find everything for your construction projects at Bhagwan Singh's, Port of Spain and Shoguana's. We are ready to build together with you. Bhagwan Singh's, Port of Spain and Shoguana's, building value every day.
That email or SMS seems suspicious. Be aware of its intent, could be vicious. That phone call or voice note sounds too serious, too good to be true, probably fictitious. Don't be fooled by online imposters, promising things that are gonna cost ya. Be aware, protect your data and money. Stay aware, stay alert, stay secure.
You can outsmart the scammers. A message from Republic Bank. Report any suspicious activity to customer care at rfhl.com.
This is Freedom 106.5 FM, 106.5 FM. Your solution for current affairs and talk. Join the conversation today as we build a better nation. Insightful discussions and interviews on national progress, the latest developments in environmental, social, and governance, plus corporate social responsibility. Freedom 106.5 FM gives you a voice. Freedom to inspire. Freedom to change. Speak your mind with Freedom 106.5 FM.
and good afternoon. Welcome back. Freedom 106.5 FM. You can catch us live on Freedom 106.5 FM. Carrie V is here alongside Anarion Mason. And this is We the Youth, a new program for the youth, by the youth, and of the youth. Join us as we discuss electronic sport, e-sport. I should have put e-sport there, Anarion. I don't know what happened. My pen was not working, so yeah. We're going to be discussing e-sports, sport and fitness and animation. And let's say good afternoon to our guests.
Welcome.
𝐘𝐿𝐸, the director at the Scholastic Esports Research Center and a primary school teacher. We must say good afternoon to Christopher Alexander, a coach, a former athlete, a blockchain enthusiast, and advocate for a healthy lifestyle. And Jessica Yochin, a 3D artist and production lead at Coded Arts. Welcome, guys. Welcome back. That includes you, Anarion.
Thank you. Just before the break, we were having a very riveting conversation about the fact that we need funding for young people, especially in the realm of sports. So I'll pass back to Christopher to continue that point. Hopefully you haven't lost that thought.
Let's see if we could pick up where we left off. I mean, I think funding could be diverted in so much more meaningful ways that could impact the generations upcoming. And I don't think that the current heads of governance or whatever you want to call, whatever they call themselves right now, I think better examples could be set, and a lot more of the dedication and the just diversion of funding, diversion of attention, passing the baton. They say what a library burns to the ground when an old man dies. So it's like you all have so much wealth of information and knowledge, and I feel like it's just being kept so close. You spend your whole lives gathering all this information, all this wealth, all these things, and you can't take it with you. Pass it on. Pass the flame, spark the fires in the youth.
And it could keep going.
So what I'm hearing you saying is that those who currently are in charge or want to be in charge, the older ones should be passing the information along to us so that we could pass it on to them. And that's what this show is all about. We the Youth is a show by the youth, for the youth, of the youth, where we try to empower those who are coming up after us by taking the reins from those who are before us.
Now, I know, 𝐘𝐿, you have a point to make with regards to sport, but before we jump to you, Chris, can I call you Chris?
Sure.
I can call you Chris. Chris, how do you think we can evolve or make our sports in general, nationally, better? What do you think that we can do?
I think I'm being very swimming specific.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, sure. Let's touch on swimming, because we need more swimmers.
Just
we need
from
more.
the aspect of prevention better than cure. If it is that everyone learned how to swim, there would be no drownings. That's just the plain of it, right? So if it is that we have to get a community pool up and running, and let's say every term we could teach 200 kids to swim, right? So out of that alone is just a ripple effect going forward. But then how are we going to pay the coaches? Are we going to pay them minimum wage? If it is you want to recruit top talent to be dedicated and show up there. If not, then the way how the economy is set up is that we would just go to the best paying thing. Because if I recently got married, I want to start a family, I'm not going to dedicate 8 hours a day of my life to make 20 TT an hour.
That don't make sense.
Correct,
Right? If it didn't make $1, then it didn't make sense.
So I mean, just from that, and it just comes back into the funding. If you could turn on the money printer and print money during COVID, you saw that the majority of the money printed in the world was printed during that period of time by the Fed and whatnot. And what is the money backed by? That's a whole other conversation. We could go down that rabbit hole. So I mean, if you're doing that and you're paying taxes under the illusion that we are propping up or supporting the public sector and paying the salaries and things, that's not the case. You could literally just print it. So, outside of the systems of control and everything there, that just keeps us in this little box. And I don't think people see the box around their minds, around their way of life that's going on. And I think just even empowering people to see that sport is a way to empower and see beyond that. if it is you really put in the time and become well versed in discipline in your craft. So I mean, like, and it's at some point you said before, like when we go into the international stage, that sometimes you're really not up to par. Right here, and then we go right, and I feel like here within the local and regional sectors, like I feel like we're under the illusion, well, we make it. We make this team, we can wear any national colors, where I pop my color and I, you know, I say the word. But I mean, like, it really opens up your eyes there when you really compete against people who have been putting it in, who have the resources, that actually have the government behind them. Because I did some research recently, just putting together this national swimming school program just on my own passion. England, Australia, the States, they have programs in place. Like in Australia, I think it's like a 97% net capture rate of swimming in schools. Like it's part of the physical education program.
See, we spoke
so
about
like
that.
it really has to start from there. And like, for what purpose now? Okay, well, I don't want my cousin or my auntie child to drown. And you're hearing these stories around, and when it is somebody, it's a life that can be saved. You know, like it's a preventable death. That just learning a new skill is a life skill, and that is part of education. So just not looking at the maths, the English, the science, and just approaching it holistically. Throughout education is education. Intelligence is, there are so many facets to intelligence, and your IQ, your emotional intelligence, your kinesthetic intelligence, even meditation, intrapersonal skills, and just a whole overall view of education. I think that needs to be overhauled, because we're still in this colonial, you know, just training workers.
And as Jessica mentioned, mindset. You understand? Now, let me just invite our callers. Of course, you can give us a call in this hour, 625-2257 or 627-3223. You can even send us a WhatsApp message to 306-1065. But before we close off with you, before we head to the break, we have to head to the break at 4:15. Chris, elections is coming up, right? April 28th. What changes do you out of all the promises, because you know it's silly season and everybody promising anything, did anything catch your mind, or when it comes to sports or even swimming, that is, anything? Did any one of the parties say anything that piqued your interest?
It's not things that I haven't heard before, and I think even when I would say a lot of the advancements was made when it is that Mr. Roberts was there as Minister of Sport, you know, different.
What? No pun intended.
But I mean, just as sports as it goes, and thing, because I know, like, coaching and people who have passions for coaching and these things, like what can we do? And that's usually the question that comes back, like, are they telling the truth? Is this really a deliverable promise?
Right.
I could say. So I mean, opening up the school, the aquatic center was a big thing. The community pools were a real nice initiatives, but again, like, funding back to the coaches, the lifeguards, the programs, because having a facility is one thing.
And then there's maintenance of the facility, the chlorine and all those different things how to come to play.
Well, all right. It's just about 4:15. We're going to take a quick break and be back. Continue sending us those messages via WhatsApp, 306-1065. And we'll be taking your calls when we get back. This is We the Youth, and we are discussing esports, sport and fitness and animation. We'll be back with our guests in a short while. Keep it locked.
Are you ready for the heat, excitement, and music? Get ready to tap into the source for all the latest tea on the Caribbean's top performers. It's Zad right here on CNC3. Stay ahead of the culture and get the behind-the-scenes access you've always wanted, with exclusive celebrity interviews, red carpet moments, and news scoops you just can't miss. It's our culture brought to you live and direct. Get ready. It's time for Zad, only on CNC3, premiering February 4th and airing every Tuesday at 8 p.m.
Today on my class trip to the Nature Seeker Center, we saw baby turtles hatching and learned all about the center's new solar PV system. This showed us how solar power works and how it's helping them save money and the environment by reducing the carbon footprint. Solar power to the people.
A project of the European Union-funded Global Climate Change Alliance, United Nations Development Programme, and the Ministry of Planning and Development.
In a time of promises and politics, only one thing truly matters: your voice, your freedom. As Trinidad and Tobago heads to the polls, Freedom 106.5 FM brings you the clearest conversations, the toughest questions, and real issues affecting your vote. No spin, no fluff, just fearless talk radio, live analysis, and unfiltered voices from every corner of the nation. Stream us live at www.freedom1065.com and follow the discussion on our social media pages at Freedom 106.5 FM, your voice, your freedom, only on Freedom 106.5 FM.
Now, a station that's giving you back the power to speak your mind. The all-new talk radio, Freedom 106.5.
Welcome back, guys, to Freedom 106.5 FM. I am here with my co-host, Anarion, Mason, and our beautiful and awesome guests. I love them, Can we keep them?
We can.
Yeah?
We're replacing somebody.
Listen, you're not getting me in that bacchanal. Rudy, it was not me.
But you made an assumption.
Listen, who else would you replace? Come on. Don't forget you can stream us live on Freedom 106.5 FM. Go check out our page. We have a question for you, Jessica. Good afternoon. For the gaming developer in the studio, is there a fit with game design and AutoCAD? And if yes, can you give specific examples how AutoCAD is used in gaming development, please? And thank you.
That's a really interesting question. I think a lot of people maybe have gone through architecture, manufacturing, and have learned AutoCAD. I would say that...
what is AutoCAD?
AutoCAD is a software for developing 3D models, but it was certain specifications. From how our studio operates and how we connect a lot with the international studios, currently AutoCAD is not really a game design specific software. We can get assets out of AutoCAD and we'll convert it into a format that we would use maybe in Autodesk Maya, for example. So the skills, knowledge transfer, if you have that experience with 3D modeling, you can apply that what you know to other software that would fit more into our particular pipeline. But AutoCAD is similar, but it's not so much what we utilize in studio or within the industry.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
It's more manufacturing, architectural, that type of thing.
Oh, so I hope she answered your question. Half of these things, I had to let me get my phone. Let me see if I can Google some of these terms that she's making. But I got you, and it's so gaming and developing is a special skill.
Yes, I find it interesting. It does intersect with a lot of industries where you could think it's the same or similar, but the processes and even industries, how they operate with each other, are very different at the same time.
Okay, we got you. So, Akil, back to you. You're in the hot seat this time.
Sure.
SEA was last week Thursday. My daughter did SEA.
Oh, wow.
And she said the only thing that got her trouble was number 37, boy. How do you bring a question like that?
Infamous number 37.
Wow.
Yes.
Is that the one that had the 4 placards thing?
Yes. That was so
simple.
That is what? That is a CXC thing to me. When I saw it, like,
how is that CX?
Come on. I did not do that in Standard 5. In Common Entrance, I did not do that.
The information was right. Well, you wrote Common Entrance, but I wrote SE. The information was right there. It gave you everything you needed to answer the question.
That was...
Okay. So put it on my essay hat for only a minute.
Yes.
That's what my esports hat. The infamous number 37. Now, this exam was actually easier than last year's exam because last year's exam was very the maths exam specifically. The maths exam was very comprehension heavy, multi-step questions. This time, what it did with the questions, it was more interpretive questions, like the infamous number 37, where you have to think a little bit more abstractly. So, and in my opinion, that is a skill. It's a skill, and as you just said, there's different ways to interpret the questions. Some people would run to algebra. Some people might draw it out physically and try different combinations. So because they changed the skill from comprehensive to multi-step to more abstract, that's why a lot of students, when they were because we prepared on the previous paper, and when they switched it to this abstract thing, a lot of people is like, what is this? We are accustomed reading like 10 lines. You give us 4 lines and four boxes. What do we do here? here.
So my daughter said she worked out what she could, and when she realized, she was like, "Mommy, that didn't make sense. So I just leave the working and I move on." I said, "Well, hopefully I get 2 marks for that."
I hope they mark it legally also.
So yeah, that was about SEA.
I'm just fascinated that every year there's just a controversial SEA question.
That is true,
Why?
Jessica.
Why?
Every year, without a doubt,
Why
there's
they doing
always a
that?
trending question.
Yeah, I'm out to the loop. We have kids, so this is funny to hear. My year was cacti versus cactuses. So I remember
Yes,
that.
so we had simple things, right? But you see this complicated, I don't know. But I mean, the youths that we have now, they should be able to do that properly because, you know, they are more advanced than how we were when we were growing up. I don't know about you, but okay, and Anarion? Yes, good.
Sure.
So, Akil, we were speaking about sports. I know you had a comment to make, so let's hear it.
Yes, I really have to applaud Chris because Chris, I'm not lying, you were speaking on behalf of esports. I didn't even realize it. You didn't even realize it. I was like, this man is saying everything, but put E before it. Code into?
Wow,
You represent the whole panel because one of the first things I want to say flat out that some people may strongly disagree with, it might be a hot take, esports is sports. Some people agree, some
Fully
people
agreed.
disagree.
Yeah.
I understand why people disagree. Potatoes. But if you think chess is a sport, esports is a sport. Some people in Trinidad say all fours is a sport.
Well,
If all fours is a sport.
Hey, don't knock chess. I was a national champion for chess.
Oh, excuse me. You're a champion, guys here.
I just to jump in on that for a second because
Sure.
there is this thing called the World Skills. I'm forgetting the full name, but it's almost like an Olympics for skills. So I
For
went.
skills?
Yes. So I went to one when I was younger, 20 something, and you go there and there's a competition. So for like game design, there's a whole section of people like they have the sprinting making art in a corner. There's like chefs making a competition. There's like welding as a sport, like bricklaying as a sport.
It's evolving.
So yeah,
There's
some
even one
opportunity for
that's going around on social media now where you see people, hotel room persons, running to make up a bed. Who can make up a bed the fastest?
wow.
What?
And
Okay.
Come
there are
on.
delegations.
Yes.
For this kind of thing. So I went, it was big. It was huge.
Even
Marches.
Microsoft Excel is a sport. Is an esports.
Oh,
Listen,
yes.
what you say?
Yeah,
What
which
you
is
say?
crazy. Yeah.
Sign me up. I want to get into that. Sign me up. Because I've even seen in the Olympics last year, breakdancing was a sport.
Breakdancing
It was
was a
ridiculous,
sport,
but
yes.
I mean, we had some laughs. But it's evolving, and we see that sport is evolving. But are we in Trinidad and Tobago evolving when it comes to sport? Akil, what you think?
And yeah, we are. One of the things that I have learned, because as I mentioned, I have been doing esports since 2003. Trinidad and Tobago is shockingly good at gaming, more than the world naturally, and we even see it in the other disciplines. Keyshawn Walcott, our athletes, where we see other countries have more investment, more experience, more training, and then we come kind of out of nowhere, and we shock the world. And it is the same in esports. I'm gonna give you a very recent example. Just Saturday, there was an athlete, there was a Caribbean-wide female-only competition. Shout out to all females like Jessica and the beauties in the room. So it was held in Guadeloupe, and they played the game Tekken. You
Tekken?
Tekken, yeah.
No, what is that?
Some people know the game. It's a fighting game, like Street Fighter.
Right.
So this was Tekken for Tekken 8, and we sent a representative from Trinidad and Tobago named Susanna. Shout out Susanna, represented
Big
Trinidad
up
and Tobago,
Susanna.
and she went out there and came first.
Wow.
And
Nice.
just like with Farmcraft and these other things, our gaming athletes or our esports representatives, we do very well on a national stage, regional stage, even international stage. And as Chris was pointing out, sometimes when we go out there, we're not ready. When we meet the other athletes, it's kind of like a shock in terms of our level. In esports, it's actually opposite, where we are actually at the level of the world without the resources of the world. So
Right.
that just shows we have a natural talent. But as we know, with natural talent, you have to hone it.
Right.
Because with all natural talents and even disciplines as in music and even coding and so on, if you don't refine it, it whittles away. Because you don't realize how good you are and how experienced you are. And in esports, even from a school, even from the schools. That was I had to really commend what Chris was saying, because the same knocks against sports we want for esports. Esports should start from primary school. Esports should start from secondary schools, because the world is doing it.
Right.
In America, from elementary school, 5 or 6 years old, they have an esports club where they play Minecraft competitively.
Wow.
In Asia, they start from 4. So it's mind blowing. Since we what, from 5-year-old in a club setting, and Trinidad, we are just naturally gifted where we pick up games and we can excel at it. But because we are not doing that proper investment, that proper structure, it's difficult. Now, something simple as now some people would try to refute this and say, but you'll have tech clubs.
Yeah.
And I would argue a tech club is not an esport club.
It's different.
It's different because, for example, if I donate 10 balls to a school, my first question would be, what kind of balls? Because it's a basketball, it's a football, it's the water polo ball.
Yeah.
All the balls are different.
Yeah.
And if you say you invest a computer to a school, then
what the computer is used for?
What is the computer used for? Is it because a coding computer is not a gaming computer,
which is different from a basic computer for
the
normal stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
Correct. So yes, some people would boast and say the schools have tech clubs, and no not to the tech club. That is very important. And in Jessica's field, you need the tech clubs to go from one stage to another.
Next,
so I think in your area, Jessica, you're being supported. Well, I know not fully, and I know you could speak on that further. I do not speak for you,
right?
But for the esports, some people would say we are funded. I'm like, no, we are not funded. We are not supported. And in that aspect, we need to get that investment. We need to get an involvement. And there are, and even something like an esports camp, because there are esports camps, but again, it's frowned upon because parents would have the opinion, why would I give somebody $200 to teach you how to play a video game?
A game.
Because they are actually teaching you these skills.
Yeah. That comes to the opportunity and where it is young people could see a future in these different things.
Yes.
And like I mentioned before, there are American streamers and other streamers who are multi-millionaires from gaming. Then it is as simple as designing a studio, designing something in animation where you turn your vision into a 3D model. You can sell for a couple $100,000 to somebody like Activision, to EA, to Epic, whoever it may be, and it brings revenue that parents may not have ever seen in their lifetime before.
Yeah. But I have a question here with this same conversation that we're having from Rudy. He said, what qualities or characteristics that make a successful or real sports person should leaders, especially younger ones, emulate that would make them better at building a better TNT? So like, let's say for instance, we had the I don't want to use Michael Phelps. I want to use George Bovell. Let's say George Bovell, right? In the esporting arena, who can the youth look up to when it comes to esports? You?
A local representative?
Yeah. 𝐘𝐿𝐸.
No, I don't want to toot my own horn. I don't want to toot my own horn.
I don't
want to toot my own horn. There are other local, and again, these people don't get the flowers they deserve.
Yeah.
We actually have local national heroes. We have had, now again, this because the esports industry, in the local esports industry, the network does not get the recognition it should. We have had people who've competed on an international platform for years and have been successful 4 years.
And we don't even know that.
And we don't know that. So that's why it would be a disservice for me to stand up and say it's 𝐘𝐿𝐸. Guys, it's not me.
But
so
I can say
it's the same thing like with sports. Like how you have cricket and Brian Charles Larry, football, Dwight York. Esports, you have different games, and different games have different representatives.
But they're not getting any recognition, as he mentioned.
And where does that lie? That lies with the policies that are in place and the incentives that needs to be identified for persons who are competing and representing the country at a international level.
And that's why I agreed with what, and again, that's what Chris was kicking down the door with a lot at this point, because as you correctly said, it's not incentivized for people to go on the administrative end because it's not glamorous to be a organizer. there's no fun in being a logistics or events coordinator or even doing graphics in esports.
Right.
And if you're not incentivized, as we if it don't make dollars or don't make sense,
Yeah.
then why go into the technical or the planning areas?
Yeah,
And
we
then-
understand that.
Exactly.
So, guys, it's just about 4:30. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more of your messages. And, of course, we'll be opening up the phone lines. Give us a call, 625-2257 or 627-3223. We are here. This is We the Youth, and we are discussing esports, sport and fitness, and animation. We will be back. So, keep it locked.
Are you ready for the heat, excitement, and music? Get ready to tap into the source for all the latest tea on the Caribbean's top performers. It's ZAD right here on CNC3. Stay ahead of the culture and get the behind-the-scenes access you've always wanted with exclusive celebrity interviews, red carpet moments, and news scoops you just can't miss. It's our culture brought to you live and direct. Get ready. It's time for ZAD. Only on CNC3, premiering February 4th and airing every Tuesday at 8 p.m.
This April, Freedom 106.5 FM presents Voices for the Silent, a campaign dedicated to raising awareness and standing up against child abuse. Too many children suffer in silence. It's time to change that. We're here to arm you with the tools, knowledge, and resources you need to identify, prevent, and respond to child abuse. Join us as we amplify the voices of survivors and take actionable steps to support at-risk children. Together, we can break the silence and be the change they need. Let's be the voice for those who cannot speak. Together, we can make a difference. Stand up, speak out, take action. Supported by the Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago. In a time of promises and politics, only one thing truly matters: your voice, your freedom. As Trinidad and Tobago heads to the polls, Freedom 106.5 FM brings you the clearest conversations, the toughest questions, and real issues affecting your vote. No spin, no fluff, just fearless talk radio, live analysis, and unfiltered voices from every corner of the nation. Stream us live at www.freedom1065.com and follow the discussion on our social media pages at Freedom 106.5 FM, your voice, your freedom, only on Freedom 106.5 FM.
The following is a paid political announcement.
This is the voice of the PNM.
But in Trinidad, we're going to start a program where on state land across Trinidad, we are going to develop to start 3,000 lots and provide the infrastructure, the electricity connections, the water connections, and the house plans for young people as first-time owners to purchase and to build their own houses according to those plans. We are going to start with the HDC database for first-time young people and young owners with a mortgage that they could afford of between $1 million and $1.5 million. We will provide you with the plans and you will build your own house for your family, a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom to start under a PNM government. And that is what we will do as a start for you.
This is a new chapter for TNT. We're red, ready, and responsible on April 28th. Vote PNM.
Great is the PNM.
That was a paid political announcement.
Expression is who we are. Take control. The all-new talk radio. Freedom 106.5. Speak your mind.
Good afternoon. Calling from Dorbasa Trace in Pinal. Teaching everybody to swim and therefore preventing anybody from drowning at all is a good and noble objective. But you don't get 100%. Some people are just not interested. And the other thing you have to look at is the age group of people who usually drown, because we get it in the news whenever it happens. It's not the 40-year-olds. It's the younger people and a cousin going to rescue a cousin and that kind of thing. And sometimes the rescuer drowns, and so adding a little bit of my experience to the topic here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dorbasa Trace, and welcome back, guys. So Freedom 106.5 FM is just about 4:35. Hello, Anarion. How are you?
I'm great, and the conversation is just heating up, and I'm sorry we have to leave at 5. Maybe we could take your next hour.
No, you can't. my next hour is full of fire safety Mondays. Every Monday with Fire Officer Jude Rogers. So yeah, we might be heated here, but he's here to cool me down.
Okay,
Yes.
well said. So guys, in the studio,
Let me just cut you across. Just now we were getting a call. So try us back 625-2257 or 627-3223. Let me see if I can read two more messages here. Someone would like to find out to the guest in studio, new technologies like esports and animation tend to keep persons in a chair and indoors versus getting active. What are young people supposed to choose?
Well,
balance.
Yeah.
You see? And the physical man says,
Yes.
balance.
Yeah.
But how they balancing that?
I used to play a lot of games. I had PlayStation, Xbox, Wii, and I would sweat game, especially on holidays, whole day. But I know when it's time for training, make sure and eat before, organize yourself, pack your bag, get up the road.
So they should have a routine.
A routine.
A routine would be
management
nice.
is a big part.
Yeah.
To answer from the Scholastic Esports part, in 2025 and 2024, it is a mandate that you must have a physical routine. If you are on a team or any sport in esports, you must do hand exercises. You must do minimum an hour of workouts. I don't mean on the chair, getting off the chair. So it is really a regimen because they're trying to counter exactly what you're implying there.
Oh, right. Wow, so you see, just like that, your question has been answered. Very simple. So in the esports arena, they have that it's mandatory that you get up and you do some sort of exercise.
Because especially during the pandemic, we saw the surgeons of so much injuries, self-inflicted injuries from prolonged use of on the chair in the room and so on, and healthier practices have emerged.
Oh, of course.
But that's from the esports side. What about from the sporting side? Are the sporting people telling them to go and play game?
Well, the sporting people say bring a balance. Well, we have a call. Let's take this one at Tuesday. Hello, good afternoon. All right, try me back. Hello, good afternoon. When you call us, please lower your volume. I have two airs that I love so much. Thank you. So give me a call, 625-2257 or 627-3223. We have another message here. Carrie, big up Shavana Sugdio for winning Tekken 8 in Guadeloupe. Oh, look, this is a picture. Hey, big up. Nice. Only when players win big tournaments and win lots of money is when Trinidad and Tobago would recognize it. The Defense Force sees about the community pools. Maybe someone can speak to them to see if they can organize the pools. And does esports Olympics in will it have an esports Olympics in 2027? I don't know.
I don't even want to touch that topic.
Please don't.
The answer is yes. The answer is that's public information.
That's public now. They confirm it.
It has been confirmed.
Yeah, I know.
So,
It
so how am I joining one of these clubs and think to play some game to win some money? How am I doing that?
At this stage, I will not answer.
Let's take another call. Let's see who's there. Hello, good afternoon. All right, let's try back. Hello, good afternoon. What's going on there? I'm seeing my line lighting up, but you're not answering. So try us back, 625-2257. Hey, Carrie, good afternoon to you and your guests. A very interesting program today, girl. I'm loving all your vibes. Aye. We get through. We get through. Let's see if we can take the call. Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, Carrie.
Hey, what's up? Talk to us.
I just have a question for Miss Yoching.
You have a question for?
Miss Yoching? I think that's the name, right?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
No, I just want to know if they do internship for locals who are studying abroad.
All right. Gotcha. Thanks so much.
We do.
Yeah.
So one thing you could do is reach out on our website, codedarts.studio. We have a contact us. We're very open to we do regular internships and things like that, and we want to connect with people, especially if they're studying abroad, to know more about what's happening. You know?
No, well, let me just add to what Jessica was saying there. I have seen some programs even on during Java. July, August. I'm not the one to say summer. I say Java.
Yes.
Right? We see those coding programs happening, and even through the Easter as well. I saw a post where they are teaching the youth how to code, and it's between the particular ages. So, what's your thoughts on that? And do you think that we are getting enough of that here in Trinidad and Tobago?
That is a really good question. So I even used to be a part of some of those, like training and so forward. And I think what our challenge sometimes can be with these clubs is the follow-up as well, because you teach children these skills, and then they go off.
But then what next?
What's next, right? So because there hasn't been a model to follow to say, hey, you're learning these skills, but, you know, how do you now tap into those skills and make that a job or build on that, right? And that has required a lot of self-sufficiency on our part as well, figuring that out. And that is an area that there is a gap, right? Like, why are we not capturing where your children are going with these particular skills? And I think there's definitely room for more. I spoke about that. We need those kind of skills. And it could be built more than just a July, August vacation thing, but a part
I
of
like
the
that. I like that.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us. This is We the Youth here every day from 3 to 5 p.m. Whilst we were on the break, I was discussing with my guests possible options for the economy. And I'd like to get them to input. So let me ask the question live on air. In the realm of sports and esports, what policies do you think should be put in place to maximize foreign exchange and to grow our economy?
I'll jump in here. I think proper use of the existing facilities, upkeepment of the facilities. Like recently we had Pan American Masters Championships that was hosted here, and I think this weekend coming up we have the 𝐘𝐿𝐴 Games.
Correct, yeah, and then
hosted here.
2 years ago we had the Commonwealth Youth Games as well.
Yeah. So I think like just even having a proper facility, being like the aquatic center or the Brian Lara Stadium or something that's not really in use. I think the aquatic center is pretty underused for what it is, but the aspects of sports tourism, attracting the athletes and international or regional athletes to come here with their coaches and just making sure that they have a proper facility to use.
So like using the existing facilities to host international matches and things like that should bring in
and advertise it in such a way, and I mean ripples effect into how are you hosting these people, where are they going to stay, hospitality, so the whole hospitality industry could be incorporated,
and then transportation
and towards it, and then I guess a corporate social responsibility towards
that CSR word.
And just like it's not like crime is a whole big topic as well, but how are you going to not even guarantee but somewhat guarantee the safety of people when it is that they come here just outside of the facility or going to the beach or a restaurant or whatnot, or road speeding on the road fatality, anything along those lines there. That it's such a interconnected web of like everyone is responsible in some way to just really make this a success.
Well, interestingly enough, I was part of one of the team on the higher ups to the Commonwealth Youth Games, and when we had to move the athletes and them from location to location, was 10-15 PTSD buses. Then we had police escort services. If it is one of the bus wanted to leave the aquatic center and go the road for doubles, it was escorted with police and a PTSD bus.
Big up PTSD.
So, I mean, they were using state resources, but I mean, that needs to go beyond just one or two international events, and we try to get something done all the time. What about for the esports and the animation?
But let me just say, in addition to what you were speaking about, right? I find it very hard to take in that only when we have a major event coming up, then they would want to see about the place and fix it up. Just like right now, the Gene Pierre complex, I think it is, they're now fixing it up. Hazley Crawford, thank you very much. Thanks for bringing that up, right? But I find that why we have to wait until, so is it that at Hazley Crawford nobody used the track?
Nobody. Interesting thing is, Commonwealth Youth Games in 2023, they did a refurbishment of the stadium and the tracks,
so
because it was used on the event.
But that's unfortunate.
So if that 2 year lapse.
So nobody wasn't running in 2 years.
Well, apparently not.
And I'm not cool, because if we and when I say we are, as in the big wigs, I call them the big wigs, right? If they invest in sport and they ensure that our facilities are up to par, then that should motivate probably clubs, persons to get in there and advance the sport. And win-win, we win.
I agree.
No, I like to win.
Likewise.
Okay. Yes.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
I think we have to take a break very soon, but in the realm of esports and animation, any ways on expanding the economy in that regards or policies?
Well, I will just jump in quickly to go. Our industry is a very big on forex. I want to stress that as well. There's an opportunity for that. And so we were talking about like sending people to conferences as well. This is a big one where the government, Ministry of Digital Transformation as well, can help with bringing back that information and also making sure there's a platform for that information to be spread.
Right.
You know,
That
a lot
is
of us don't know what's out there, and so that is one of the opportunities. And again, you talked about safety, security, and all those type of things, because we invite guests as well. As you said, it's an investment into our country, so our foreigners come, and we want to make it a safe place for business.
For them, yeah, and that's how it should be. So guys, it's just about 4:46. We're going to take a quick one and be back. When we come back, we'll be taking your calls as well. So give us a call, 625-2257 or 627-3223. This is We the Youth, and we will be back.
In a time of promises and politics, only one thing truly matters: your voice, your freedom. As Trinidad and Tobago heads to the polls, Freedom 106.5 FM brings you the clearest conversations, the toughest questions, and real issues affecting your vote. No spin, no fluff, just fearless talk radio, live analysis, and unfiltered voices from every corner of the nation. Stream us live at www.freedom1065.com and follow the discussion on our social media pages at Freedom 106.5 FM, your voice, your freedom, only on Freedom 106.5 FM.
Children need supervision while on the internet. It is a very useful tool in today's modern world. It can be used in a variety of ways to enhance a child's education, as well as for fun activities such as games and reading. However, the internet can also be a very unsafe place with content that is inappropriate for children. Many dangerous situations can occur, such as children being lured by predators. Use filters or block websites to make the internet safe in your home and establish family rules for internet usage. Child protection is everybody's business.
So grateful for this precious life. Embrace it with a fearless stride. Dig so deep to turn your dreams to reality. With a bright future on your side, through every journey you will find what you've earned and accomplished, you now deserve to be. Embrace life with Guardian Life. Only you can pave the road for your legacy. Embrace life with Guardian Life. Every step is one step closer to live easy. Life, health insurance, and pension solutions. Embrace life with Guardian Life.
The following is a paid political announcement.
They blocked every national effort to access cross-border gas that would grow our economy. They spread lies about illegal fuel trading with Venezuela. They backed Juan Guaido and called for crippling sanctions. They betrayed our national interest by siding with foreign entities during our renegotiations, which brought back $38 billion. With the UNC, everyone loses. The PNM is a responsible government on a solid foundation. Together, let's write the next chapter. On April 28th, vote PNM.
That was a paid political announcement.
Now, a station that's giving you back the power to speak your mind. The all-new talk radio, Freedom 106.5.
And welcome back to We the Youth here. I'm joined with my lovely guest, Carrie V.
Oh my gosh, I'm a guest today. Hi, how are you?
No, well, the host, the hostess.
Well, okay.
Still, the lovely Carrie V.
Hi, I'm here.
As well as our three guests, both guys, @𝐘𝐿 and Christopher.
So why they can't be handsome?
Both guys.
They are handsome guys. 𝐘𝐿 and Christopher and Jessica.
Yeah. And the lovely Jessica. So before the break, we were talking about some policy things that. So for a second, let me just rephrase the question. If you guys can close your eyes for a minute and envision a Trinidad and Tobago with the perfect policy for animation, esports, and sports, what would those be? You all each have the floor to answer that question.
And we'll start with 𝐘𝐿 first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alphabetical order.
Alright. Alphabetical order. For me, that would look like a primary school esports league, a secondary school esports league. So think of it similar to the current secondary school football league, the SSFL, but just with esports. Alongside with that, along with having an esports league, we have scholastic esports activities. Because remember, esports is the competitive. So let's just say something simple as you have a FIFA league. That's esports. But then we want other things like Minecraft activities, Roblox activities, and these other little things to incentivize others who may be interested in the esports but not as skillful as the other people. So along with the primary and secondary school activities, we also have national esports tournaments. And the reason why these things are important, because just like with sports, when you cultivate the community from a young age and you train these players and show a large player base, it invites people from other countries to come to our island. Because even now, without all these fabulous policies, there are eyes on our island. Funny enough, people look at us in different varieties, and by having these major scale tournaments, it will invite people to come in, and where we could even host a major tournament, and that brings in so much eyes from all over the world.
You won't believe I was seeing that for the past 3-4 years in public spaces that Trinidad and Tobago needs to build a center, and we become the gaming hub for the Caribbean. So like how you would go to Fortnite tournaments in Miami, let's create something with Roblox or something in the area where we have tourists coming in, and the trickle down effect, like Chris was mentioning earlier, it will reach out.
Can I say a small controversial statement?
Was it radio friendly?
It's radio friendly.
Okay.
We actually were doing that before. Because again, I remember I've been doing this since 2003. We have been doing that where we've had regional events in Trinidad where we invited islanders to come down to Trinidad to play against us. And because there was no public buy-in, and this happened multi-year, where there was actually a championship belts. There were belts, and Trinidad held the belt for several years.
Wow.
Then the belt left Trinidad, and that's a whole different story. But what you were saying there, that it's a amazing idea, and it could have been funneled even further along, but unfortunately it didn't.
We do hope that
I think they need more exposure.
Exposure is the correct word.
Yeah. All right.
What about you, Chris?
I would say a lot more corporate responsibility, a lot more involvement from the higher-ups in the positions that they hold, showing the interest, whether they were once sports persons themselves. I think investment like these corporations and foundations, not foundations, but holding companies, I would say always publicly post their annual revenues and profits, and sometimes I wonder, okay, well, is this just going back to shareholders? What are you doing with the profits? How are you investing? Because this is made off of the sweat and the backs off of the people at the end of the day. So what better use of it than investing into the future generations? And what does that look like? Is there even a forum and a conversation to be had, or is this always behind closed doors and a contract to sign? Or like how are we approaching this to divert these funds? Or like, what do you want to do with these hundreds of millions and billions of dollars? Like, is it just numbers, or do we have a use for it?
We could invest it in sport and esports.
Right. And well, not first but lastly this time around.
Last but not least. So yeah, for me, a lot of different ideas. It was started at the schools, these camps, so game hackathons or game jams at the schools. Really, I love to see a platform for game developers to showcase their work with like a game dev showcase. So a place where even we have a lot more Caribbean games where just playing Fortnite, we're playing something with Caribbean characters and as our stories. Even things like having our own operating systems that are specific to the Caribbean, right? So these are technologies that are for our own people that have even games made by Caribbean people loaded onto them. I would look at really how we can foster more that into development. So you talked about those hubs, gaming hub. I also agree with that as a tech hub for the development, because I said again, we have a knowledge pool here. So I would like to see more investment in that area. Like I said, building tax incentives for So it allow people who have game ideas, places where they can get investment to make these ideas a reality.
So maybe grants or something for
A grant facility, yes, that really understands the services sector and understands games and tech. I think that's an issue that we have. We don't understand how you can make money from it, but you can.
So what I'm hearing also is that we need to have younger people up there in the leadership role to understand what the youth need.
Yes.
And that is why the show
Generational gaps,
that is why the show We the Youth is creating the forum for you guys, you youth leaders, to elevate your voice and bring your ideas so that the world and Trinidad and Tobago can hear it. I would like to thank each and every one of you for being here today, for joining us. I know the conversation is going so well, and Carrie doesn't want to give us the next hour.
You know what? But you know what? I'll give you a call, though.
Oh,
I'll give you a
thank
call.
you.
I will give you a call.
Okay.
Hello, good afternoon. Let's try again. Hello, good afternoon.
Hey, Carrie, how are you?
I get it, buddy. Talk to us.
Well, I understand in your Utocracy program,
Mm-hmm.
and you're discussing good topics and so on.
Right.
And you have my full support.
Aye, we get through.
And I'm happy you have this Utocracy discussion with all. I hope people are listening. So I want to commend you, Carrie, as usual. You carry on a great program. Thank you.
Thanks so much, buddy. Thanks so much for your call. And there you go.
Thank
There
you so
go.
very much, caller. And before I hand over to Carrie, I want to just remind you all to like the feed, go up and follow Freedom, follow our part. What else? I'm missing something.
Yes.
Oh, tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, let's see.
Tomorrow's episode features the orange economy and the creative sector with lead singer Mohammed Maki from Freetown Collective.
Take me home. Sorry, I feel like I could sing.
As well as a very young recent graduate from the University of Trinidad and Tobago who goes by a stage name of Classics.
Classics.
Yes.
All right.
So join us tomorrow as we discuss the creative sector, music, pan, whatever have you, theater, drama on We the Youth. Now back over to you, Carrie.
Thank you so much, Anarion. And of course, let's say thank you going out to our guests. 𝐘𝐞𝐞𝐤, Director of the Scholastic Esports Research Center and a primary school teacher. Big up you, 𝐘𝐞. Hats off to the teachers out there. We must say thank you so much going out to Christopher Alexander, coach and former athlete. And Jessica Yorchin, a 3D artist and production lead at Coded Arts. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. We had fun, I had real fun.
I did.
Can we rewind and do it again?
Of course.
Yeah. You see, simple.
So, if you do want to hear them come back and do have another 2-hour conversation, give me 100 likes on the Facebook stream.
Yeah, 100 likes.
And a minimum of 25 comments, and we'll bring them back right after the elections.
Of course. Well, after the elections, yeah, because we had a talk after the elections. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Our 5 p.m. news is next. Continue keeping it locked to Freedom 106.5 FM, just about 2 minutes away. Continue sending me those messages via WhatsApp 306-1065. Coming up in the last hour, it's Safety Mondays with Fire Officer Jude Rogers. He's not going to be here for the entire hour, but he will be here with us for about 30 minutes or so. But continue keeping it locked. It's going to be a vibe, an energy, and an Anarion. He said drinks for the team. So, yeah. We're going to take a quick one. Our 5 p.m. news is next. Keep it locked. It is Freedom 106.5 FM.